What is up, guys? Okay, so to start off the video, if you don't know what TMNT is, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The reason I am saying that is because this is TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Back to the Classics, and I'm gonna show you some of the classic items I have that some of these things aren't even made anymore. Like, a lot of these things, I believe, actually aren't made anymore. Let's just get right into it. So, let's start off small. Okay, to start off. Oh, actually, yeah, whatever. This is the Metalhead figure. Now, you may be asking, hey, what's the big deal with this? Okay. This is a certain brand. These certain brand of figures. I know this guy lost his leg. Yes, I know that, by the way. But, like, these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures aren't even made anymore. They aren't made anymore. And they were really good figures, too, in my opinion. They were great figures. The metal head is kind of stiff, but you could always pull parts off and put them back on. You just had to kind of snap them back on. Some parts, like the legs and stuff, you wanted to be maybe a little more cautious about pulling off. But he's a little stiff, but he was still one of my favorite figures. And these are these are Playmates, I believe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. Not made anymore. None of them made anymore, I believe. Completely out of production. And this is Slash, I believe. When Raph's turtle, his pet Spike, got mutated, he turned into Slash. This figure wasn't the best detailed, in my opinion, but it did have a good, it does have good flexibility, even though it's a little stiff. In the legs, mainly, I'd say. But it still has much more flexibility, I think, than, the metalhead. And you even get the mace with him, I believe, and stuff, which was really, really nice. And look at that shell. Look at that razor shell and stuff. I mean, how could you not like a figure like that? I believe you still can find figures like these. In fact, let me show this off again, because there are tons of cool figures. You can look them all up and look up all the names and stuff. This is the list of all the figures. I do not have all of them, but there are a ton of them. A absolute ton, I believe. Just tons and tons of figures, I believe. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating it, I believe, but there are a lot. You get what I mean. Okay, on to the next one. So this is the back-flipping Michelangelo. I am not sure it was made by Playmates or was part of the Playmates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, but I believe it's probably also not in production anymore and not even made anymore, because this is also a pretty old figure. As you can see, I believe when you would pull this, he would go into a back flip. And as you can see, it wasn't easy, I guess, to get him to backflip. But nonetheless, it's Michelangelo, so still a great figure. Little awkward looking because of this, but if they could hide that better, he probably would have looked a lot better. I do like the vest and stuff. I believe there was never an official design like this for Michelangelo, but there probably should have been, in my opinion. He is very, very stiff, though. He is a standalone figure, maybe. It seems like he's a standing main figure that was just meant for the back flipping. Let's move on to Rawzar, I believe, or the farther mutated version, where he becomes this fella right here. This guy, very, very flexible. Probably one of the most flexible figures. Super skinny, super awesome looking. The detail on him is great. He has the orange eyes. He has the sharp teeth in the front and the regular teeth going all the way back. He even has the spikes and has all the bones and everything. So, very detailed figure and also really flexible figure. They did a great job on this guy, in my opinion. Really great figure also just because, well, dogs. So, yeah. This figure, really great figure in my opinion. Maybe even one of the best figures that they have. And here's Fishface. He is actually a really, really stiff figure. A really, really stiff figure. But he is still just so awesome. Like, his arms are so messed up. So, like, the figure for his arms are just wacky, I believe. Like, they are just so locked and so messed up. But the detail and looks in the design are great. Absolutely great, in my opinion. They did a great job on Fishface. I know that may sound like an insulting name, but that's his actual name in the show, basically. Because Michelangelo names every single villain, basically. Except for one, I believe, where Donatello actually names it, I believe. But, yeah, this fellow right here, very stiff figure. But, the legs are much better. But still also pretty stiff. But great design. It was greatly detailed. Now, since we've done Michelangelo, let's do some of the other turtles. This is writer Raphael, I believe. He is actually probably one of my favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures I have. Because he has these slots in the back where you can actually put his weapons. And the helmet just looks sick on him. And then you got that extra back detail. Then you can flip this up. And he is a super flexible figure. He's a pretty flexible one. As you can see, you can actually bend it quite a lot. So, yeah, he's really good. If you guys even want a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series on my channel, I can probably do that. Just be aware. It may take a while, or it may not be the best, because I would probably try to collect more figures like these original ones, because in my opinion, it's just awesome to have these original ones instead of the newer figures and stuff that have come out. Because these figures, in my opinion, they're basically my childhood, so they're going to be the best to have for me. So, this is the writer Raphael. He does come with a vehicle, I believe. I couldn't find the vehicle, but I believe it's a big motorcycle that you can put together. And it can basically look like go-kart too, and it basically functions as both, I believe. Now let's go on to Leonardo. Leonardo, my personal favorite. My very, very personal favorite. I'm just now realizing I don't have a Donatello. I am sorry, Donatello fans. This is my favorite Leonardo. Absolutely love Leonardo. Favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ever. You can open his back, put all his weapons in there. He even has throwing knives and stuff. As you can see, he's a little damaged over the years. Maybe you may be able to see that on camera. I'm not sure. But anyway, he is one of the really, really flexible figures. I'm not even sure he's part of the Playmate set, but I know this guy's probably not in production anymore at all. But he is just such a great figure, and super flexible, and you could dual wield with him. He could hold all his weapons, I believe, perfectly well, which is really awesome about him. And then let's move on to Splinter. Splinter, kind of stiff, but still really cool figure. feel like maybe they should have made some of the more reddish looking fur, maybe a little more brown, because in the show, I feel like he's maybe more brown, but they still did a great job on him. The design is good. The robe is good. Everything is right, I think, except for the fur and the fact that he's so stiff, because he's actually really flexible in the show. Now let's move on to the Rat King. Rat King, one of my favorite figures, I believe I used to play with. He is kind of stiff, but oh my gosh, does he look awesome. Just look at that. He is such an awesome looking figure. You can even see the mice on his shoulder there. He was just so awesome. He's kind of stiff. Yeah, that's fine, but he can move his arms enough, I think, in my opinion. Can't do much with the legs, I guess, but hey, that's fine. So, in my opinion, Rat King, pretty good. So, let's move on to this guy. This guy easily is probably one of my favorites. This guy, I've never seen anyone talk about this guy, I believe. I'm not sure if you've seen this episode, but there were episodes where, the Footbot soldiers, I believe, got an upgrade, or they basically got all these crazy weapons, and, there was a figure where you were allowed to switch around the weapons. You got a drill, assault, basically a slasher hook type thing, I believe, and a mace. So, yeah, you got all these things, I believe. So, this is just, like, one big deadly monster, and all the arms are actually pretty flexible, in my opinion. Because, see, these ones are more like jabbing. These ones are more moving back or something, or moving up. So, they actually did a good job on this figure for how much detail is in it. Great job on it. Also, the legs are pretty flexible, too, because you can actually stretch them outward and move them back. So, oh, head, also flexible. So, figure, absolutely amazing. Also, probably my favorite version of the Footbot, because it just looks sick, and it just looks so deadly. Okay. Now, if you are a fan of the show, you have to know the Krang, basically. Krang are a big deal in the show. So here is a Crankbot. It comes with a Krang brain inside, I believe. And this is a really flexible figure. Like, you can swing these legs easily. You can pop arms off, which I did not mean to do. And if you want an entire army, I believe you could... when these things were still around, you probably could have bought a ton of these. Yeah, the arms are pretty flexible. And you can actually pull out the brain. You can pull out the brain and stick it onto characters to make it look like they're brainwashed or something. And you can even pull off the head, too, if you want to add to detail. So, yeah, it's a good figure, in my opinion. The only thing that I think I may not like about it is the brain, but they probably struggled with that, and it was probably just hard to do that. I feel like maybe the brain could have had some better detail. It would have also been cool to see them with the Krang laser gun, but I believe they didn't make that for the figure, and I believe they didn't make the human disguised Krang, I believe, either. I believe so. That would have been nice to see, but, you know. It was still nice to at least get some type of Krang. And this is probably one of my favorite figures because it's just so awesome. This is... Oh my gosh. How do I... This is... Mutagen, man. And you can, yeah, you can turn this knob to actually have him look in different directions. So this is Mutagen Man. This is, if you know, I'm trying to remember his name. Pulverizer. He got mutated once, I believe. And then I believe he got mutated again or something. I think something happened, basically, and he basically turned into this. He was basically a fanboy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Then he basically turned into this. And, I believe ended up living in Donnie's lab. But then, like I said, turned into this. Now, this is something that I own, and I don't know how I ended up owning this, but a TMNT watch. I was a child. Why did I decide I wanted a watch? Don't know, but still cool. The detail on it, pretty nice. Is this a stopwatch? Not sure if this thing even works. Oh, it's not just a watch. Oh, it makes light. Oh, that's sick. I thought this was a watch. Light doesn't fully work, but hey, that's sick. I thought this was a watch. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Okay, apparently not a watch. And this is a TMNT walkie-talkie. I loved using these things. As a child, don't know what it was, but using walkie-talkies, even though it was so unnecessary, like even if you were in the same room or close to the same room as someone, it was just fun. It made you feel like a secret agent. It was awesome. It was great. Now the reason I'm gonna pull out these is because I'm very, very certain they don't even make these or show these anymore. Because they show the mask now, like the turtle mask. And these are the strap-on TMNT Michelangelo and Leonardo. Oh, I have two Leonardos and Leonardo. So this is one Leonardo. This is the other Leonardo, I believe. So yeah. These are the TMNT Leonardo. Oh wait, no, they're layered on top of each other, I think. Oh yeah. So I guess that's another thing to find out. How they made these is they actually layered two of them on top of each other to make them. So that's kind of neat, I believe. So I really like these just because, like, you can easily put them on. Almost put it on upside down. You can easily put them on. And it can just look epic. I mean, look at that. In my opinion, it can just look cool. It just goes well. And you're not putting on that entire mask, but it still looks cool. Now let's finish big. Time for the big moment. Introducing a classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles plastic cup with Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. That's never, ever been used. I believe I've never even taken the lid off this thing. This is probably the crown jewel of my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection. This thing, I can imagine, is so rare. If you guys can find this, tell me. Because this thing, I can imagine, is probably impossible to find. So, this thing, easily at the top. So, tell me, guys, what you think. Tell me if you know anything about these toys. If you've seen them, what you think about them. And if you want a series. Anyways, that's all for this video. Tell me if you want more TMNT or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have a great day. Peace out.